मनस संचररे मानस संचररे ब्रह्मणि 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 मानस संचररे ब्रह्मणि
He tells us what's coming up in his concert that's coming soon to California on April 1st. So for your tour with the Other Media Foundation this year, you're coming to the North America and you're going to perform at many different places. Is there a particular unique theme to this concert series?
No, I don't think so. I'm just going to sing what I know. But I think the important part is that this tour is entirely a tour to raise funds for other media. They'll be doing some wonderful work, especially in the environmental sector. And I know them very well. And I think if we can contribute in some fashion to the wonderful work they do, through whatever we do, singing or whatever else, it's great. And so these 4 concerts I'm singing in SIFA and then Boston and then New Jersey and DC are primarily to try and see how we can support their work in the little way that we can. Yeah, and I'm just going to sing what I know. I mean, nothing, no theme.
We're looking forward. You always keep your audience on their toes, so we're excited. Over the years, you've been performing in many different countries. Do you see any difference in the way the audience responds, say, the US compared to India or Europe?
Well, if you look at Indian audiences, I mean, specifically, then I think that the audiences that come to Carnatic music among the South Indian population are more or less the same across the world. It doesn't matter whether you're in Australia or America or India. It really doesn't make a very big difference per se. I don't think there is a very big difference. The listening culture is the same. So I would say more or less the same. But yeah, I mean, if you're looking at audiences that are not South Indian traditional Carnatic music audiences, then it's a very different thing. In Europe, it's a very different experience. In other parts of the world also, it's very different. They come with different reasons. Some of them are just curiosity of different art form. There are a few people who have heard it before and have been great, have fallen in love with it. There are people who do it for their own, within quotes, yogic and spiritual reasons. So they get some kind of their own spiritual experience through it. So they come with different windows. But Europe in general has always had great curiosity towards, I think, different cultures and different art forms. And so audiences there are definitely have a year to explore the possibility of other art forms. I would say something similar, maybe even of Central Asia to some extent, Turkey and that belt. Yeah.
Got it. So these days there is so much of good music available online, even very high quality music. So why should a rasika or a connoisseur of music come to a live concert?
If you're really a rasika or a connoisseur of anything, and you think that it can be replaced by listening to recordings, then you're lying to yourself. You're a connoisseur or a rasika. You're not. Because I think the whole idea of being at a place to experience something is the basic quality of being a human being. And if that basic quality of sharing with others, of experiencing in a certain commonality, of experiencing even disagreements, of experiencing discomfort in direct contact is not how you would like to experience life, there is a serious lacuna in the perception of living that I would question. And I would question as strongly as I have in this video. I'm not going to try and convince somebody that they have to come to a concept. It is like telling somebody that you fall in love with a girl or a girl falls in love with a boy, and it's absolutely fine if you just do it through email, chat, and Facebook and Twitter. You don't need to meet your lover at all in your life, and you can live your life. So if you're really in love, you will want to meet the girl or the boy, and it's as simple as that. And anybody who has been in love will tell you that that's the most precious thing about a relationship, that you are with each other. So you are in love with art. You have to be in love with it. You have to have passion for it. And if you have it, you will go sit there for 2 hours or 3 hours. And like any relationship, it comes with a baggage of so many possibilities which are unknown. And you may take some, you may discard a few, you may accept some later, you may change after a while depending on what is given to you too. And it's well, if you're not allowing to make yourself vulnerable to that, please be satisfied with YouTube and online, and I won't be with you.
So, melodic aspects of music seem more intuitive and to reach the heart of any listener, whether they have a background in Carnatic music or not. The Thani Avarthanam piece seems a little bit harder to follow. It would be really invaluable if you can break it down for a layman.
I think that's a bit of an irony in some ways if you look at it, right? Because if you look at world over, the thing that appeals to everybody is rhythm. And it's only in Carnatic music that everybody doesn't care two hoots about the Thani Avarthanam. So there's something we need to introspect about seriously. Other than the fact that I believe there needs to be some very serious consideration taken by all musicians on the texture of the Thani Avarthanam, on the structure of the Thani Avarthanam, and on the concert itself. I think how we should try and look at the Thani Avarthanam as a rasika. Comprehension is not necessarily a necessary condition for immersing oneself or enjoying oneself. If you say, I don't understand anything of Thani Avarthanam, I'll be happy to point out to the rasika about 150 things they didn't understand about the melodic aspect that happened before them. Okay? It's not like they understood every nuance of the Todi Ragam, the Devatam, what all Sangeeti assigned. They didn't understand. Okay, I sound very brutal, but let's be honest about these things. Okay. So, I think what we have done is there are two things we have done. We as an art community, we have treated the Thani Avarthanam as being some kind of a placed additionality to this idea called main piece, which for me doesn't really make a sense. Every piece has to be a main piece. Every piece is important. And therefore, we have also placed the Thani Avarthanam as being something that is additional. So we have also structurally done something that affects the mindset of the listener. So we have to think about that. And the listener too, I think, has to find a way by which they can just get into the melody of what the rhythm sounds like, of how the patterns move. They don't need to understand the mathematics of every korai or every nadai or the mohara or the... Can you enter the space of sound? Because human beings have naturally done that with rhythm across the world. And the same person who walks out of Thani Avarthanam will listen to maybe some other, Middle Eastern drum that they saw on YouTube and say, wow, every Vasikara, and listen to 15 minutes. But when they come to a concert, they'll walk out of the Thani Avarthanam. Right? I'm sure about it. I'm sure they'll share it on Facebook and say, oh, look at this rare instrument and celebrate it as the most important thing. So there's something seriously wrong with us. We have to see it. So I think if we don't, there are 2-3 things. If we don't, we can't expect the same things out of a Thani Avarthanam that we expect out of a Kirtanam or a Ragam or a Tanam or a Tanam. So we need to kind of remold our head of what the Thani Avarthanam experience is. What the difference in tonality is, what does opposite gates, what does yadir nadai, what are contraindicative rhythmic movements do to the experience. If we can enter into that space, I think it's much easier to just enjoy it and really be in it. But there's no doubt in my mind that as a Carnatic music community that's been part of this, we have a problem.
Hope you enjoyed this conversation as much as we did. Now catch him perform live at San Jose, California on April 1st, brought to you by SIFA. Pick up your tickets from the link that should be appearing somewhere around here or look below in the description. See you there.
Brohani manasasa charare, Brohani manasasa charare, Brohani manasasa.